We are the Church of the Larger Fellowship, the Unitarian Universalist congregation with no geographical boundaries. We believe in cultivating curiosity and transformation that is rooted in profound love.
For over 85 years, the ministries of the Church of the Larger Fellowship have circled the globe and crossed the walls of prisons. We are a spiritual lifeline for our over 2,000 members in prison, who are also connected to individual Unitarian Universalists through our letter writing ministry.
In our online community, we offer weekly worship, classes, and groups. Our monthly magazine, Quest, supports the spiritual lives of thousands around the globe. We know better than anyone how deep and meaningful connections can be formed even from a distance.
We are proud to be a leader in this faith movement, and we invite you to get involved in our ministry. We strive to be a place where anyone from anywhere can find spiritual refuge anytime they need it. Welcome to the Church of the Larger Fellowship.
We are so excited to bring you an all-new episode of the Voices of Unitarian Universalism, known affectionately as The View.
The View is a weekly Unitarian Universalist talk show discussing important faith-based topics from an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, and multicultural perspective.
Since 2013, we have gathered every Thursday from September to June to welcome guests from around the world.
Our guests are writers, scholars, activists, and religious thought leaders who are shaping Unitarian Universalism and society for the 21st century and beyond.
We hope that today's show inspires you. We hope it builds your faith and gives you perspective to see the power of Unitarian Universalism at work in your life.
Welcome to The View. Hello, welcome everyone to Voices of Unitarian Universalism. My name is Aisha Hauser. My pronouns are she and her, and I join you from the land of the Coast Salish people, which encompasses many tribes here in the Pacific Northwest, also known as Seattle, Washington. And I am a brown woman, curly hair, wearing a keffiyeh, glasses, and some gray in that hair. And the weather it's sunny. Actually, I had to put the shades up because I was getting a lot of sun in my eyes, which was fun. And I have the honor of being one half of the lead ministry team of the Church of the Larger Fellowship. Sending it to you, co-lead Michael. How are you? Where are you?
Greetings, beloveds. I'm the Reverend Dr. Michael Tino, the other half of the lead ministry team of your Church of the Larger Fellowship. And I am joining you from the land of the Kitchewan, Wappinger, and Munsee Lenape peoples, about 35 miles up the Hudson River from New York City, also known as Peekskill, New York. And it is a beautiful, bright, sunny day today, too. I not only have the window shade open, but because my office is the hottest room in the house, I actually have the window open today, which is which is just astounding, just to get like a little bit of 35-degree air mixed in with the 80-degree air in my office. You know, it's heat rises, right? And the thermostat is downstairs. And so I'm upstairs, and in order for downstairs to be tolerable, upstairs has to be a little warm.
Oh, no.
It's okay. It's fine. It is totally fine. I'm not complaining. It's just, it is. It is what it is. So I'm enjoying actual fresh air for the first time this year. And it's a beautiful thing, actual fresh air. And, you know, the trees aren't trying to kill me yet. So it's pollen-free fresh air.
Oh, no.
Because it's February 5th.
Well, and everything has been covered in 2 feet of snow, which today is actually melting. Like 34 degrees outside.
Ooh. Get out the copper tone, baby.
Right? I should be wearing shorts.
It's balmy.
It is the second day. Yesterday was the first in 16 days that the temperature has gone above freezing, which almost set a record here in the Hudson Valley of New York State.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, we haven't seen above freezing in a while. Yeah.
so how are you, DC?
Hey, I'm all right. I'm DC Fortune, Reverend DC Fortune. I'm coming to you from Auburn, Maine, on the banks of the Androscoggin River, so named for the original inhabitants of this area, Androscoggin people. Also, the ancestral home of the Penobscot, Wabanaki, and Abenaki confederations. And it's bright sunny. It's cold. Like, I think if you're in a corner where the sun is hitting and there's no wind, stuff might melt.
Mhm.
But if you're not sheltered like that, yeah, it ain't gonna melt today. And the daytime high for Sunday is expected to be 10
I don't miss that.
in Fahrenheit. In Fahrenheit, not in Celsius.
Well, thankfully, because
Yeah, yeah. So, but it's February. We made it through January, which seemed like to last like a whole year on its own, right?
What is time anymore?
I know, right? Yeah, time is all squeamy, wishy-washy, weird. But yeah, it's relatively okay today.
somewhere there's this comic poet. I'll put in quotes. Who releases these really cute, funny joke poems, and one of his poems is about the number of days in the month, and I need to find it because it's something like 30 days have September. It starts with that. But then it's like, and January has 3,940.
So
It's so
accurate.
true. Jeez, yeah, like, yeah. Just ugh.
I feel like since COVID, time has turned into molasses. I don't know. I also turned 50 in
Oh,
2020.
so here it is. Brian Bilston, 30 days has September, April, June, and November. And unless a leap year is its fate, February has 28. All the rest have 3 days more, excepting January, which has 6,184.
No shit, ma'am.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
Wow.
for real.
So Leilani tells us it's false spring in Seattle, and Natalie in Illinois is envious of that. So there we go. It's all relative, right?
Seattle puts weather in a magic 8 ball. I've learned. So we get false spring in January, and then in June we get January, where it starts to get cold and rainy, and inexplicably when it's supposed to be heading to summer. So I just think, or we're in a snow globe, and it's just the universe is like, okay, let's see what we do at Seattle today. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I will say, like I said, I don't miss having weeks and weeks of below zero, freezing temperatures. Even if it's not below zero, below 32 is no great shakes either. So don't miss that. But otherwise, it's just, let's look outside and see what it's like today.
The cold weather has allowed me to use my garage as sort of an expanded freezer.
Nice.
So when I made 24 pounds of what I'm euphemistically referring to as roadkill sausage.
Okay.
It's all frozen in 1 pound packages in the garage.
Excellent.
Because there's not room in my freezer. Yeah, there was a deer that got hit, and in Maine you can keep the deer and the thing and the stuff. And so yeah, I did the thing and ground it up and made Italian sausage, and it's really good. And yeah, and I gave some to my sister, and her kids were so excited to have roadkill sausage.
That's a very rural thing. I learned that when I lived in.
Poor Michael is just, I can see this is.
Oh no, it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a
Listen,
thing.
it is better that deer be eaten. I mean, the animals would eat it if you did.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the animals will get some of it because although my garage now looks like Jeffrey Dahmer came for the weekend, so it's a little grim out there.
Nicole in Southern California is not commenting. Listen. Southern California, you have like mudslide season and wildfire season, and
Yeah.
none
Yeah.
of us want that. And June,
Right.
June.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah. Well, last time I was out chasing the snowblower around, I'm like, we don't have fires, we don't have alligators, we don't have tarantulas, like we don't have crocodiles, we don't have rattlesnakes,
the iguanas are not falling from the tree because of
which is
Dante
silly.
is backstage. I'm so
boy, are you
excited.
Hey,
Hi Dante.
Now we get the party started.
How
Good
are you, Dante?
Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning,
morning.
or afternoon, wherever people are.
We're just talking about the weather, so now we get the weather report from Chicago.
Oh, I've been listening to about roadkill sausage. Oh, all kinds of things. Oh, it's cold. I don't know, really. I'm not going outside. Like,
No need. No
it's
need.
Chicago in February. Why would you? Yeah, no,
No need.
no.
cold.
So, how are you, Dante?
I, I'm.
That good, huh?
It's a question that everyone who's done graduate education and had to do that final project knows that there's no good way to answer that question,
Mm-mm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm in it. Like,
Mm.
I want it to be done, but it's like I'm in it, and
You're almost there.
lots of late nights and weird things and trivial, menial tasks.
So View family, join us in like cheering Dante on to the end of his doctorate in ministry.
Yes.
What's your deadline like, Dante?
Um, well, I need to turn in a near finish manuscript. I think I made my deadline Monday, end of business Monday.
Okay.
And then my committee members review it and give me notes, and then we'll set up a defense. Um, so they'll use this to determine if I'm ready to move forward to defense.
Mm.
Okay.
Um, and then we'll set that date, and then I'll keep redoing whatever I need to finish, for that.
Okay. So for the next like 5 or 6 days, we'll just send extra woo positive energy stuff towards you
Yeah,
to get you to this next deadline.
yeah, because the like footnoting is a horrible. Anyone who's ever had to do footnoting in a major, it is so painful. It is,
Turabian?
and I don't care how smart you are, but I don't care which style it is. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how organized you are. It is painful.
Really?
And our program gave us which was really super nice. They gave you a template
Okay.
that already has much of the Chicago style built in.
All right.
But we started our papers unless we were thoughtful about that when we started writing a year ago, we were writing different documents. So then I had to copy and paste into the template. But footnotes don't copy paste. You have to bring them in one at a time.
Oh, no.
I'm
Oh,
so sorry.
yeah. I saw Reverend Michael's face. It's like, it can be painful. But
Well, thank you for being with us, Dante. We're going to talk about generosity today. But before we do, I want to tell everybody about a movie I saw last night. A documentary by Abby Martin, who is an independent journalist. She's fierce. I'm going to try to get her on The View. Everybody say a little prayer that we get Abby Martin on. The documentary is called Earth's Greatest Enemy, How the U.S. Military is the Biggest Polluter on the Planet. When I tell you it is a tough watch and an important watch, and I wish every human would watch this film. I had no idea that Camp Lejeune in North Carolina for decades poisoned babies.
Mhm.
There are entire cemeteries dedicated to infants.
Yeah.
White infants, all colors, but white. I mean, and I'm like, this is our white supremacy hurts us all. Empire hurts us all. No one, I mean, you may have a little more privilege for a while, but white officers, their babies came out either ill or stillborn. And I will tell you, Abby Martin is a courageous person who walked into places that literally we were like, how the fuck did you get access to U.S. military? And she is not afraid to make people uncomfortable. Go, Abby.
What's the name of it
Girl,
again?
same. Abby Martin. And the name of the movie is Earth's Greatest Enemy.
Isn't Lejeune also the base where there was a problem with the water? People.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The water caused all these.
Is a toxic waste dump.
Yeah, it's a Superbun site.
And the toxic chemicals have leached into the groundwater, and that's what's killed people.
Decades and decades and decades and decades, and babies have died.
We're going to put it in the chat. Earth's
greatest enemy. So please sign up to get a viewing of this film. Studios, the way she described it was kind of like, oh, this is great. Oh, no, we're not going to support you. So we need to do this, because she's taking on Empire, folks.
So it's, and we've repeated that, making places toxic waste dumps in all the places where our military has been for the last decades, right? So there are toxic areas in Afghanistan and Iraq and all of those places too.
The film.
The interesting, and when we talk about like, oh, the battleship group is moving into the Caribbean, like think about how much fuel the battleship group requires to move into the Caribbean, because like the amount of fuel, I mean, other than the ones that are nuclear powered, and that has its own and
think about the raw sewage that is simply dumped at sea,
and the sonic sound that is fucking up and killing whales, porpoises, dolphins. That's the part where that made me weep more. I mean, as bad as all the human destruction, and it's immense, seeing how the U.S. Navy is decimating the ecosystems all around the world. And there are people fighting back in Okinawa, Japan. There are feisty and courageous and amazing Japanese people of all ages getting in kayaks saying, fuck you. They don't say fuck you, but they're like, get out. I'm interpreting it.
Right, and something very polite in Japanese, yes.
I mean, they had signs in English, no base. So, I mean, it wasn't that polite, but it wasn't fuck you.
It's interesting because there are people in the military, because, there are people in any system that are fighting it from within. Yeah. There are people in the military who understand these issues, and that's probably how she got access to this. The people who were willing to undermine it from within gave her the access that she needed to make this, and they're all in trouble. But those people have long advocated for the U.S. military to invest in technologies to remedy that. And when the military actually creates those technologies, they're available to the rest of the world, or to the right. So
that's why we won't do it, because somebody else will benefit, and
the douchebag in chief of the United States wants to blame wind farms, right? So. So generosity. It's our theme of the month here at the Church of the Larger Fellowship. The Unitarian Universalist value of generosity.
Okay.
And I, wanted to know what I had to say about it. So I went back and looked at the language that's in our shared values document. And the first sentence is not anything about giving. It's about cultivating a spirit of gratitude and hope, right? It's about creating a generosity of spirit that connects us to one another and moves us as a society forward in the ways that we need to move forward to the society we want to build. And I was really inspired by that because I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk about giving.
I mean, I do. So I'm preaching this Sunday, and I was thinking about in a world that is shaped by global extractive capitalism. It is hard to think about generosity without thinking about money because of the world in which we live, right? But money's not natural. It does not it's not a flora or fauna.
Doesn't grow on trees, Dante, as they say.
It literally is human made. It's a human made symbol. It does, that's
and it has what value
it's not
we
even
assign
backed
it.
by a standard for mostly anymore. So it's just paper, right? Like it's an idea. Money is an idea, like democracy.
Thank you.
Ooh.
It's made up. It's a story. Could we please talk about that? That's right.
It is a narrative that supports the concept that human beings need to sell their labor in order to be worthy of survival.
Ooh. Say that.
Mm-hmm. All paid work is prostitution.
Well,
do you use your body or your skills or your mind or something?
I think yes, and I think generosity to me is when I think about it in the context of an abolitionist worldview, there would be no question that we would lead with generosity because what we are centering is care. How could we withhold anything that we could share with others when we center care?
Right.
And that is not what we've been conditioned into. We've been conditioned into scarcity and the idea if you share, then you're not going to have enough for yourself. And so I think a generosity of spirit in all the ways, it's consistent with what it means to hold an abolitionist worldview. Yeah, what's astonishing to me, especially after watching this film, let me tell you, it's bleak. Wild that the one and all, we have 800. I used to say the number 750, which is big enough. 800 military installations across the globe. By far, there's not even a second. I think Russia has 9. I don't know, but by far, we are an empire. We are all over the earth, and we are. You know what it is for? And now they're looking at do you know that part of this film there were conversations from military officials saying, like, when the polar ice caps, the Arctic Circle melts, they're looking at mining underneath it.
Well, and that's why.
That's
why the people in power are interested in green.
Right, and it's a hoarding scarcity mentality that says we have to own all of this with no thought to the idea that what are you owning, what are you destroying, what are the implications, and for what? You're going to destroy life, yours too. That's oh my God. I guess the part that the cognitive dissonance of people engaging in behavior, wealthy people with all this power, and behind it the U.S. military, that are going to full speed ahead into taking us all off the fucking cliff.
Yep.
For what? I mean, that's a rhetorical question, but it's still kind of real. Like, what even story do they think? This isn't gonna happen. And fuck this whole where everybody's going to heaven narrative. 90% of these people don't fucking believe that. That is the whole idea that this is happening for heaven. Sure, there are some people who believe that.
Oh, I think the U.S. military. I think they believe by the time Earth is uninhabitable by humans, they'll be rich enough to live on Mars or some fucking shit like
Oh.
you know, like just enslave the Earthlings that are left.
The delusion.
Have you read Caste
Yes.
by Isabella Wilkerson?
Mm-hmm.
She has a fascinating approach to how we stratify our society according to perceived wealth.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one too? The Sum of Us, which was by
Heather McGee.
Yes. Yeah. And that again is another, like, all resources are a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
The notion that people can be kind and generous is just foreign to white supremacy and antithetical, is that the word I want, to white supremacy culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was deciding if I should just save this for Sunday, but as I've been meditating on this concept of generosity, and I want to think about it outside of the concept of something that's not real, like money, because that's not real. I realized that, and I'm really talking in a U.S. context right now. Black people are one of the most generous people on this fucking planet.
Bar none.
Yep, absolutely.
We keep trying to tell people, learn from us. We've been through this shit. We've watched these processes unfold since we were trafficked across an ocean. We might know a thing or two. Pay attention.
Right.
And despite us being one of the first commodities of the United States, we keep offering our wisdom. We keep offering our analysis, our understanding, our insight. And this just keeps fucking spitting back in our face. We might as well be sitting at a lunch counter in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think, like, I could never be those people. Like, I wouldn't have been at that lunch counter because, baby, y'all were gonna have to kill me. I like that. That's not me.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
And yet, I did social justice education and inclusion work and DEI work, most of my adult life. That's modern day lunch counter work. I might as well have been doing a lunch counter sit-in. Because it is, people are going to spit at you and throw things at you and try to undermine your humanity at every turn. So, and why? Why? I don't know. We are so fucking generous. And so then, so after the election in 24, and Black people said, we're taking a sabbatical. Now people are like, see, where are the Black people? And why aren't you out here? And what?
Mm-hmm. This ain't your time.
How many times am I going to offer you to eat from my table and you reject it? Why would I keep asking you to come eat at my table?
Everybody needs to read The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. Every white person, especially every person in the United States, needs to read The Fire Next Time. Everything that's coming out in these files and that island and the depravity happened to enslaved people. The depravity of what happened on that island, I don't want to say that ghoul's name. There are millions and millions of files released, and fuck Joe Biden for not releasing them. Fuck him. He had 4 years of all those files he could have released unredacted instead of this fucking game that's being played. But all of that, had we understood our history and cannot be overstated how brutal enslavement was.
Mm-hmm.
White people thought they were special, and it wasn't going to happen to them.
And I think it's also true about every marginalized community, because being at the margins comes with a certain wisdom.
Right.
That if you're at the center, you ain't never gonna understand on your own, because you don't have to.
That's
you
right.
just don't have to. I was watching earlier one, was it Star Trek Discovery, and there's this person who he talked about how their species is born in fear. You only know fear, and in fact, they have ganglia that tell them when there's something is threatening them, and they cut, like, it appears out from under their sort of a crease in their skull. So they're very super aware of danger, and they go to this one planet where he encounters something that removes his fear, so he never wants to leave, and he's sabotaging the mission. And they finally leave, and he was just like, if every moment of every day I live in fear. And I was like, oh, that's what it's like to be Black in America. Regulation, we talk about the Bible. Like, I am, I have way more education, formal education, than any human being probably ever really needs. All of that kind of stuff. But that doesn't matter when I see flashing lights behind me in the car. That it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
There's a whole body of work that says that, that Black men who are gay are really gay just because they're afraid of white power. And so they figure if they perform femininity, the system won't kill them. And I'm like,
what?
Like, anything that marks you as other in this system makes you
vulnerable,
list to be gotten rid of. Like, come on. But yeah, this notion of living in fear, and unfortunately, I think we are where we are because people have refused generosity.
Yes. Yes.
All
of the communities who have been trying to tell us this is where this is taking us. Hey, listen, read, like I said, people don't even, if you don't want to talk to Black people, don't, but read. We have one of the most extensive intellectual histories in the Western world.
That's right.
Yep.
Black women have, I don't know if there is another group of people other than Black women who have such an extensive historical canon of talking about how to hold multiple realities, multiple identities. Black women have been talking about it since they got here, since they could write and publish. That's where I learned it. There was nowhere else for me to learn it. So I just think this is what happens when you take generosity from where we are politically.
Well, and when you send to scarcity, there can't be generosity. Generosity, with the tension that this country, even the whole nonprofit industrial complex, the idea that people have to beg for money to help other people. That's what the whole nonprofit industrial complex is. You have to justify that you want money, that you need money to help,
deserving. That you are deserving.
That's because we have a scarcity control capitalist system that doesn't know what to do with generosity. Generosity gets warped by this system, because if we have an abolitionist system, a worldview that centers care, it would be the default is generosity, right?
Yes, right. I once attended a weekend seminar workshopy thing for gay pride organizers. And the speaker that weekend was this guy from the Gill Foundation who was there to teach us how to raise money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and uh, and he had a bunch of really interesting, useful little strategies and stuff. And one of the things that we all were experiencing was we don't have the money. We don't have the money. And he said, that's bullshit because he said the most generous per capita percentage of income given to charity, okay, the highest rate of that is in what state in the union?
Utah.
Mississippi. You want to know the least percentage of income per capita given to charity and church in this country is where?
Massachusetts.
Connecticut.
Of
Connecticut.
course.
Poor people know what it is to be hungry. Growing up in the poverty that I experienced, I remember my father saying, if you come to our house and leave hungry or sober, it's your own fault. Right? Because that was how you treat guests. You feed them, you fill them, you share what you have, even if it's not much.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what you do. Somebody shows up and you've got a limited pot like of soup on the stove. You cut up a couple more potatoes, throw it in, and make a batch of biscuits, and we'll make this stretch to feed 10, instead of 6. And so when I've done fundraising things, what I've said is, don't tell me there's not money in the room. There's money in the room. It's just our job to get it out of you and get you to understand that it doesn't do you any good unless you share it.
Mm.
It doesn't do you any good. You don't build anything by burying it in a jar in your backyard. What you build by sharing and spending and building communities and building connections and doing creative, healing, nurturing things with it, as opposed to sitting on it like Scrooge McDuck. Right? So people who know what it is to be hungry will share.
That's right. That's right.
I've seen people, somebody who's unhoused, who's out panhandling. Somebody comes along, gives them a sandwich. The first thing they do is break it apart and give some to their dog. Right?
Mm-hmm.
First thing you do is break it apart and give some to the guy next to you. Right? Because he's been sitting here for all day too. Neither one of us have had anything to eat, so I'll feed him. Like, that's just, and how people don't do that, I don't understand.
Right.
One of the things that used to drive me crazy, one of my other careers was in the nonprofit industrial complex, was this notion that what we needed to do for poverty was to teach financial literacy to poor people.
That's bullshit.
I want to bring in. I want to bring in a voice from our online viewers. Leilani Davenberry writes that doesn't even reflect the generosity of the poor, helping each other in non-money ways with fixing, building things, connecting each other to resources, and sharing what you have. Growing up poor as I did, your survival is dependent on each other.
That's right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Amen.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And don't get me started on the nonprofit industrial complex, because let me tell you, beloveds, I am deep into research about grants from foundations to help fund the life-saving prison ministry work of the Church of the Larger Fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you all know someone who works at a foundation, let us know. The number of foundations that are like, oh, don't call us, we'll call you. Like, if we think you're worth funding, we'll find you. I'm like, that's just bullshit.
That's what the Gill Foundation is like now.
That is just bullshit. But if you know anyone at those foundations, tell them about the Church of the Larger Fellowship, please, because I'd like them to call me.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Don't call us, we'll call you. Like, seriously?
Mm-hmm.
How do you learn? How do you learn about what's going on in communities? How do you learn about
That's not what they want. That is not the goal.
That's what they want. It is absolutely not what they want.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And we see this happen.
Hard.
We see this happen at the micro level too. When you think about congregations that then have an endowment.
Ugh, don't even get me started.
People lose their shit. They're like brains completely turn inside out, and they suddenly become the most miserly people you've ever met in your life because they're in control of this fund that is designed to do good things, but they're like, no, we can never spend it.
Well, you know, I can't even get into the endowments because most, and let's talk about Unitarians.
Right, yeah,
most
true
of
that.
these brick and mortars are sitting on money resource. Your building is a fucking resource in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you sitting there with your 25 members in this
historic building,
this facility that could be offering something into the people.
And only a very small handful of congregations are actually taking that seriously and saying, how do we invest our real estate in the community?
Yeah.
How do we like open up the doors to the groups that need it? How do we, use our parking lot to allow houseless people to like have a safe place to spend the night?
Mm-hmm.
Cars and vans.
Yes.
There are a few congregations doing that work, and I will shout them out. And if you know some of those congregations, we'd love to talk to folks from them here in the view.
And Josh's comment: Shield, a Hispanic-speaking church. Yes, and yes, and yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can now be creative in this time. Again, take notes from Minneapolis. ICE is now going into the suburbs. I just read a post of Minneapolis. I mean, we're gonna beat them back. So I'm not gonna give them. They are going to be beaten. It's just a matter of how much damage they can do on the way out. But many of the UU brick and mortar congregations, and I'm going to say UCC, United Church of Christ, progressive congregations, are in the suburbs. Most of our congregations are not in the cities, and so there can be a lot of creative ways to give to the community, to be hubs of mutual aid. A lot of congregations of all denominations in Minneapolis have been doing that. We have, I believe, Michael, you could, in DC, I think 1,000 brick and mortar congregations, or at least there's 1,000 members. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of spaces that we can impact by being creative in our generosity. We could, space is huge. And yes, I appreciate, I mean, we were for a while shielding folks from ICE. What was it, a sanctuary? Was that the word, when folks were living in our congregation, some of them?
Yep, sanctuary congregations, yeah.
Yeah.
My the congregation that I serve hosted a drop-in center a while ago, and it was handled poorly, and it split the church. And I'm coming in trying to do some of that repair now, and getting people to the place where they're feeling safe enough to be generous with space. The sanctuary and the vestry, like, we were finding used needles and stuff around, and having to hose excrement off the front steps and having people overdose in, like, I mean, it didn't have the structural support that it needed.
Mhm.
There was a bunch of things that went wrong that led to the collapse, but it needs to be done with care and with intention and with an understanding of how to be helpful in ways that don't eliminate the resource you're trying to share.
Yeah.
Mm,
You know,
And I even think it's okay to get really clear about what types of generosity you work for you, right?
right, yeah,
Yeah, that you can have boundaries around it too.
right,
Because one of the things that I've observed in this world is really empathetic people often get taken advantage of.
Mm.
yeah,
And so sometimes those people have to create some boundaries,
right.
of protection,
Mhm.
for their own good. Or if you happen to struggle like I do with codependency, like those, like
Mhm.
I have to erect certain kind of boundaries sometimes. So, because again, none of this is perfection, right?
Right,
It's none of this is about here's the perfect thing that will fix all of the things.
right, yeah,
That's not,
abolition will.
yeah, like it's, you know,
Abolition will fix it.
uh,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't mean like, okay, so
I
you're right. It's not about one thing being fixed, but it's about what is our worldview? How do we center care? Because
Right,
then, I mean, we do need to protect ourselves and have boundaries because we still live in a deeply unhealthy society and we've been traumatized in one way or another into
Mhm.
people pleasing, into the only way you can like me is if I give of myself. It's
yeah,
part of the extraction, right?
And
yeah,
right,
I argued last Sunday and in my upcoming weekly message that the practice of generosity, embodying the value of generosity, requires us to have a worldview that says that those things are possible,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It requires us to understand that it is possible to fundamentally change our society in the ways that we understand it needs to be fundamentally changed.
yeah,
Yes.
Um, because if it wasn't possible, we wouldn't be investing our spirits, we wouldn't be investing our money, we wouldn't be investing our brains, we wouldn't be investing our sweat,
That's right.
we wouldn't be investing our bodies in making it happen.
That's right.
If we didn't have, if there wasn't a way to get there, we'd just give up.
That's right.
Uh, so the embodying that spirit of generosity requires us to even just like even when it's hard, like there has to be a glimmer. There has to be
Mm.
a glimmer of possibility
yeah.
for us to be able to move toward it. And that glimmer of possibility, like that little almost dead coal ember, like
Mhm.
fanned, needs to be fed. It needs to be given oxygen and fuel and allowed to erupt.
And this goes to our universalist understanding that everyone is capable of of some good,
Mhm.
Right.
right? Um,
Capable, yes.
Capable, not always willing, not always in a way that is necessarily helpful, but we all have the inherent worth, which qualifies us as beings created in love, um, that are hardwired for this shit. We unlearned so much growing up.
That's right.
So, gratitude, I heard you say.
Hope.
We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope.
Yes. And hope requires us to have faith in humanity.
Which we have a lot of evidence of.
Faith in the possibility of humanity.
And expands our imagination.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, faith, because we have evidence of resistance, resilience, joy in the face of this fuck shit. Watching in Minnesota, truly, less than a single person across this country is resisting. Minnesota right now is the focus, and everybody needs to really be careful, watch, or I don't know. I feel like we need to pre-organize in Springfield, Ohio, because this administration has been loud about wanting to come after the Haitian population next. And there is, we let us not erase the people who are centering humanity, joy, mutual aid. And in Minnesota, there are people now, there's music. They're like, I don't think they're calling it a second line, but that's what it's reminding me of from New Orleans. Like, people with tubas and with wind instruments are there's singing resistance. There's music. And so we don't have to give in to the narrative of cruelty. There was a leaked document, I don't know if any of you heard this morning, of the arsenal that the U.S., that ICE had to getting ready to battle with citizens. But the Minnesotans were like, we're actually focusing on caring for each other and letting each other know when you're in the area. So this isn't working out the way they thought. And so we need to keep leaning into loving each other and showing up, supporting community. That's what we're learning, is that they back down, because sure, you can try to kill everybody, but you're not going to win. I mean, you're not going to get our spirit. You're not going to fucking get our spirit.
And Leilani also posted in the chat, just lifting up that Black Indigenous people,
yes,
futurists have long written about the glimmers of hope and what is necessary. So thank you for lifting up those voices.
And I would like to remind us that either we believe what we say or we don't. Because either we believe it or we don't. And we say worship is in every tradition I have ever been in, that worship is about as above, so below. It is about calling the highest ideal that we hold from the ether into the present.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a religion, we do this at least about once a week corporately. But I'm not sure if we actually orient to worship in that way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that, because you need some creative power to transform this world. And religious folk who do corporate worship, any community that has communal rituals on a regular basis, that is always an opportunity to conjure what is not yet into the now. That's what worship, like, I'm not trying to give my piety points. That's not why I come to worship. I come to, like, because it's good for us.
Yeah. I want to respond to Josh's love your neighbor as yourself. I heard I don't want to take credit for this thought, but it has not left me since I heard it. Somebody on TikTok said, that doesn't work for most Christians, especially the evangelicals, because they don't love themselves. The idea that you were born a sinner and there's something fundamentally wrong or sinful about you means there are people too many that are walking around unable to even love themselves, let alone connect to themselves. So they can't. You've said this for a long time, Dante. People who discount the humanity of others are discounting their own humanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is Josh, in a perfect world, people would love themselves enough, like they would love others. And if we had more people loving themselves and recognizing their own humanity, they would not take away the humanity of others.
Yeah.
I think it is more complicated. I wish that there were more people who loved themselves, who understood that their humanity and their love for themselves is connected to the humanity of others. And unfortunately, I think that is part of the sadness of the modern world, is how disconnected we are from our own selves.
We can have a whole series of shows on how the inherent depravity of humanity is a toxic theology that
Toxic.
too much of Western society is predicated on, and that both our Unitarian and Universalist ancestors rejected rejected out of hand. So
I follow this Black woman content creator, and she was talking recently in a video about how growing up she never looked at a magazine and said, "Oh, I want that person's body, or I want that person's life, or I want that person's whatever." And she said, and that's because I knew who I was, and I knew I was loved, and I knew that I was complete. And she talked about, the cloud of aunties and uncles and people and families and cousins and stuff around her that built her up and fed her and affirmed her as she was growing up. And I remember thinking, some of my earliest thoughts were, I want to be somebody else. And my faith, my Catholic faith growing up, had me recite every time at Mass that I'm not worthy. Right?
And it did a fucking number on you.
You think? And look, it's made me who I am today. Yeah.
Well, we love you more today.
Right? But I mean,
a man whose garage looks like Jeffrey Dahmer's been over there.
But it took me so long to sort of come into myself, into my 50s.
Same, DC.
Yeah.
I can relate.
Yeah. I heard a person say, I don't believe in self-care. I believe in radical self-love. And I was like, that's it. Because self-care sounds so, what does that mean? Like, either I love myself regardless, or I don't, right? Like, and I'm going to, and I am committed to loving on myself. But that loving of self, and I think DC and I think we scrapped a bit over this concept in the past around the role of self-love. Because I was a self-loather in my childhood, my early young adulthood. But the only way for us to be human is to be human with other humans. Other humans have to be around us in order for us to be human.
That's right.
Okay.
And so what I learned is that I didn't have that. I didn't find the community that could teach me how to love myself in a very particular kind of way till I went to undergrad. When I got to college and I got adopted into a family of Black queer men, that's how I found my loving self. So we need to find those communities.
Next week on The View, perhaps radical self-love is our topic. Maybe we start there. Maybe we start with radical self-love.
As the root of generosity.
There it is.
How about we start there, Dante? You good with that?
And this Sunday we'll be talking about pluralism as generosity.
Okay.
Oh,
so
good.
Come to CLF Worship, clfuu.org/come to worship, and we'll see you there.
Thank you all.
Yeah, I love this group. I really do. Be well.
Thank you for joining us. Special thanks to everyone who gives generously to this ministry. It is because of you that this ministry is possible.
Visit clfuu.org/give to make a contribution.
We hope you will join us next week for another episode of